Hey, it's me, Tommy. So I'm going to show you today how I've been getting these awesome probe lens shots on a few of my recent videos. And after that, I'm going to show you a couple of the other special tools that I've built just for my studio to make it easier and faster for me to create videos and content the way that I do. Just like how the 30-minute video that I made last weekend about all the different lights and all the different B-roll that I did it in just a day and a half on a weekend. So this is the A7S III. I actually got this A7S III and this probe lens on loan from B&H, but I don't think I'm sending them back. I'm just going to buy them. I was considering whether or not I should get the second kit and the probe lens, and I've decided to go with it because it makes it a lot easier to have one main Sony A7S III over there and the second one on the probe lens. I specifically picked the Sony A7S III because when I'm not actually taking a picture of an LED's chip like this one, I can crank the ISO up to 12,800 and it performs really, really well. And that's extremely important for the probe lens because the widest aperture is f/14 and it goes up to f/40. Now that's great for taking pictures of an LED's chip, but obviously when I'm trying to take video of literally anything else, then it just doesn't work. If I crank this down to f/14 and bump the ISO up to 12,800, well, we're looking like a pretty regular exposure already. Look at that. Now the second reason why I have it connected to this Mars 300 wireless transmitter from Hollyland is because when I'm using it to try and create a shot, I need to make sure I have focus speaking turned on. Here, let's do this one real quick. So say I'm trying to take video of this aperture remote here. There we go. So right here I can see that the plus is actually in focus now. The screen on the back of the A7S III, while it's great, it's just not good enough to try and nail focus with the probe lens. Even at f/14, the depth of field on this lens is just razor thin. So let me tell you some of the challenges that I ran into with the Rhino Arc 2 and just how long it actually takes to use this tool. And if you're planning on getting something like this yourself and you want to make shots like these, I need you to know that it's super difficult and you're gonna want to build something kind of like what I've done over here if you intend on getting things done in a timely manner. So I originally built it just like this, and that's so I could have an easy way to roll the Rhino Arc 2 around my studio so I could set it up for live streams or as a B-cam. But then the problem came when I introduced the probe lens. This end is wiggling. I needed to figure out another way to further mitigate any vibrations on this entire stand. I just have an impact super clamp with an impact magic arm screwed into an impact baby receiver, which is screwed into the bottom of this Arc 2 slider over here. There's another slot over here for, and I didn't want to use two impact magic arms because I feel like that won't provide any rigidity, and I didn't really know what to do. But then I realized usually you screw these sliders into a couple of tripods or a couple of light stands. And so what I could do, then I still have the ability to change the height of this rolling impact stand with this little cheapo Amazon Basics light stand. It'll provide that extra stability that I need. And so I can use this to actually get probe lens shots a lot more reliably. All right, so I use the probe lens with cine gears on it, right? And that's so I can use the follow focus system on the Arc 2. This lens has such a razor thin, shallow depth of field at these macro distances that you need to use some type of follow focus to get these tracking shots. This is where the problem begins. Using the mobile app with the Rhino Arc 2 is completely unusable. Anytime you disconnect from the app, which is randomly, or whenever someone texts you or calls you, whenever someone sneezes in another room, the app will just disconnect from the Rhino Arc 2 and then it will continue tracking in the direction that it was last going. So if it's moving across the track, it'll continue to go and then it'll keep going past where the stops are and it'll just start grinding your belts and your gears until you manually reset the device by cycling the power. That's unacceptable. So that happens every time I've tried using the app, and that's been 14 or 15 times now, so I don't use the mobile app. It's completely unusable. It will wreck my equipment. Because if I've got a probe lens shot up here, right next to the 300X, and it's like right next to the little COB chip, and it has to stop right here, but the app disconnects and it just plunges through the freaking light. I don't want that, and that could wreck both my lens and my light. So I can't do that. The second problem, sometimes when I turn it on, there's just randomly drift. It just will randomly be going in one direction a little bit slow, so I have to cycle the power again. On this little controller, this little joystick pad controller, there's one for your thumb, and that one works really, really well. That's the pan and the tilt. But this other one here, which actually, the pan and tilt works fine. That's great. But this little joystick here, this one controls the slide and the focus. The sliding is easy enough to control, but the little pan, this joystick is so small and so sensitive that you can accidentally cause it to move in either direction. Now that's usually not too much of a problem, but when you bring the probe lens into play and the macro focusing distance is like this close, it'll cause your probe lens to plunge into your subject. And that's generally something I always want to avoid. So I have to be super, super careful when I'm setting up these probe lens shots. I have it transmitting off into my Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro, which sends out a feed to this wireless monitor that I use from OC, which is powered by a single V-mount battery. And that one has a second Mars 300 Pro receiver on it, which is receiving the Multiview and or the program out from the A10 Mini Pro. So using this setup, I can put it wherever I need to make it convenient. And has really good focus peaking, so lining up focus with it on this big giant monitor is a lot easier than using the tiny little screen on the Sony A7S III. And of course, I can also use that monitor to see what's going on with you guys, my A-cam. And that's the same setup that I use for my live streaming, so it's convenient to have all that stuff used the same way, regardless of what type of content I'm trying to make, because again, like I said, time is my premium. I don't have a lot of it, so I have to save as much of it as possible. So I don't need to be in ISO 12800 now because I'm going to be turning the light on. We're at ISO 500 now. Turn on the 300X here. And we're at 1% power, 2700 degrees Kelvin. All right, so we are very close to this guy right now. Move down a little bit, get that center frame. There we are, and we got to get it in focus now. Oh, it moved. Right there, that's where we're going to start. And I need to get the hyper reflector now. So I hit start move. Let's hope it doesn't crash. Oh God, that's so close. All right, that always worries me. As soon as I hit start move, it's gonna wiggle, so I put it on loop so it would go back and forth a couple times. Now let's see, look at that, I messed up the focus. All right, I think we got it. So that's it for today. I find myself always trying to find interesting and new or unique ways to use things in the ways that maybe they're not supposed to be used or they haven't been used before. So if you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, if you're interested in how I process my audio, I have a $10 Adobe Audition preset. My audio goes from sounding like this to sounding like this. And yeah, sometimes I even throw the 300X on that thing. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.